declare that the 507th Convocation of McMaster University for the conferring of degrees is now in session.
Please be seated. Good morning. My name is Dr. Peter Smith, Acting Provost and Vice President Academic of the University. This morning, I have the great pleasure of acting as your Master of Ceremonies and of welcoming you to Convocation. Before we start our formal program, may I first ask everyone in the hall to switch off any electronic device that may ring or beep during the ceremony. I would like to now call upon our Chancellor, Dr. Lynton Wilson, to make his own welcoming remarks.
A very good morning to you all. President, Vice Chancellor, Provost, Deane Kelton, President of Mohawk College, our Vice President Academic of Mohawk College, honorary graduate, members of the Platform Party, graduands, ladies and gentlemen, very warm welcome to this 507th Convocation of McMaster University. To our graduands, congratulations on your successes, on reaching an important milestone, an exciting milestone in your lives. Many of you will begin careers, embarking on new journeys. Some of you will be continuing your education, training, or preparation for more advanced or specialized activities. The very best of luck to each and every one of you. To the parents, grandparents, family members, spouses, and friends here today, I invite you to take a bow as well. You can be proud of the roles you have played in the accomplishments being recognized in this convocation. To our faculty and staff, today marks tangible recognition of your efforts, particularly the successes of your students evident in this ceremony. Thank you and congratulations. This is a day of celebration, and I wish you all an enjoyable morning. Thank you.
I would like now to introduce Dr. Patrick Deane, President and Vice Chancellor, who will be presenting our honorary degree recipient.
Mr. Chancellor, by the authority of the Senate of McMaster University, I have the honor to present Nancy Edwards. Dr. Nancy Edwards is a distinguished professor at the University of Ottawa in the School of Nursing with a cross-appointment to the Department of Epidemiology and Community Medicine. At the university, she serves as director of both the Population Health PhD program and the Community Health Research Unit, a health system-linked unit funded by the Ontario Ministry of Health and Long-Term Care. She also holds a Nursing Chair Award funded by the Canadian Health Services Research Foundation, the Canadian Institutes of Health Research, CIHR, and the Government of Ontario. She is also the Scientific Director of the Institute of Population and Public Health in the Canadian Institutes of Health Research. In her spare time, Dr. Edwards is a senior scientist with the Elizabeth Bruyere Research Institute and an academic consultant to the City of Ottawa's Public Health Services. A graduate of McMaster University in 1982, with an MSc in Clinical Epidemiology and Biostatistics, Dr. Edwards completed her PhD at McGill University. Her subsequent research has been extremely influential and focused on health promotion with specific interests in the design and evaluation of complex, multi-level, and multi-component community health programs. Some of her recent studies have investigated tobacco cessation, fall prevention among seniors, and the transfer and uptake of research evidence. Dr. Edwards has more than 150 peer-reviewed publications and 17 book chapters. Dr. Edwards began her clinical nursing career in Vancouver and spent her early years traveling and working as a public health nurse across Canada and around the world. In 1982, she was a CEDA scholar in Sierra Leone. Upon returning to Canada, she became an assistant professor in McMaster's School of Nursing with the joint appointment to the Hamilton Wentworth Department of Public Health Services. In 1988, she became a community nurse specialist and sessional lecturer at the University of Ottawa. Dr. Edwards has made significant commitments to her profession and her colleagues by serving as a member of the CIHR Governing Council, as an external reviewer for the Michael Smith Foundation, and as a member of the Advisory Committee for the Best Practice Guidelines Project for the Registered Nurses Association of Ontario. She has also been a grant reviewer for the Canadian Health Services Research Foundation and the Vice Chair of the Advisory Board for the CIHR Institute of Public and Population Health. Maintaining the international perspective that marked her early career, Dr. Edwards has been a visiting professor of Guerrero University in Mexico and Tianjin Medical University in China. Closer to home, the Canadian Association of Schools of Nursing presented her with the National Award for Excellence in Nursing Research, and she has received the YMCA/YWCA Woman of Distinction Award, as well as the Sigma Theta Tau Elizabeth McWilliams Miller Award for Research Excellence. She was awarded an honorary lifetime membership by the Canadian Public Health Association, and in 2006, the Mayor of the City of Ottawa even proclaimed a Nancy Edwards Day. Mr. Chancellor, Nancy Edwards is a McMaster alumna and a former member of our faculty who has certainly given our university great reason to be proud. Her research has shaped and continues to shape our perspectives on and approaches to public health, and her leadership in her profession has established her as one of our country's champions of effective and high-quality health care. I present Dr. Edwards to you, Mr. Chancellor, so that you may confer upon her a second McMaster degree, this one a Doctor of Science, honoris causa.
Nancy Edwards, by the authority of McMaster University Senate, I have the great pleasure to confer upon you the degree Doctor of Science, honoris causa, in McMaster University, with all the rights and privileges pertaining to that degree. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
It's now my great pleasure, privilege, to call upon Dr. Edwards to deliver the convocation address. Dr. Edwards.
Good morning. Chancellor Wilson, President Deane,
platform party, distinguished guests and graduates, and your families and friends. Thank you so much for this honor you have bestowed on me. I am truly, truly humbled by this award. I was not able to attend the McMaster Convocation for my master's degree, so exactly 30 years later, I'm delighted to experience the convocation I missed. Let me begin by congratulating all of the graduates on your hard-earned achievements. I am sure you will join me in thanking those who have supported you in your academic pursuits. I know this is not something you've done alone. You are now among the ranks of McMaster graduates who are highly regarded throughout Canada and around the world. It's really a privilege to celebrate this day with you. My first contact with faculty members from McMaster was in Sierra Leone, West Africa, where I spent 5 very rewarding years working as a community health nurse. McMaster had a joint project with Bay University in Freetown, and the faculty member from McMaster, who is based at that university, would periodically visit the rural village where I was living. He was intrigued to learn more about our primary healthcare program. He brought visiting colleagues from McMaster to see how we worked with village health committees and traditional birth attendants. In my community health role, I was tasked with taking these faculty members out to the villages and giving them a crash course on culturally appropriate behavior, like what to do if the village chief handed you a live chicken as a gift of appreciation. A cascade of McMaster-related opportunities followed for me. These included problem-oriented epidemiology classes with district health officers, getting admitted to the Design, Measurement, and Evaluation graduate program at McMaster, obtaining a faculty position in the School of Nursing, and working as a team member on the innovative McMaster Aga Khan CETA project and the Teaching Health Unit initiative. These experiences contributed to my development and evolution as a health professional and as a research scientist. As you might imagine, I had many mentors along the way. They nurtured my research interests, they built my confidence, and they linked me in with their networks. They taught me about mentorship, not so much through words, but through actions, and they made me want to provide the gift of mentorship to others. Mentors have taught me the importance of inquiry. Sometimes this has led to research ideas, but more often it has deepened my understanding of why things are done in certain ways, what innovative approaches might be tried, and who might lose and who might gain if change were to take place. The process of inquiry is part of the lifelong learning philosophy and critical thinking skills you have gained from this institution. Without inquiry, we stop thinking about how to make things better for all people. My mentors have come not only from academia, but also from the communities in which I have worked. From this latter experience, I'd like to share some examples and draw some lessons that may be relevant for you in the next phase of your careers and lives. In West Africa, I recall the traditional birth attendants who worked together, respecting each other's experiences and providing mentorship for young apprentices. They described the importance of having a strong heart, being compassionate, and listening to the women in the villages they served. They understood the fundamental importance of relationships. They taught me that you have to earn the respect of those you work with, and you have to earn this respect repeatedly, with each delivery, with each home visit, with each village health committee, and with each client encounter. An auxiliary nurse in southwest China described how she provided outreach services. Her small 2-room clinic was on the side of a mountain, and this is at the base of the Himalayas. It overlooked a deep gorge, and the mountainside above her clinic was equally steep. I asked her to tell me about the most remote village she visited. She pointed directly overhead, where at the top of the mountain, one could see a small village that took her 10 hours to reach by foot. Here was someone who understood the meaning of accessible health care. She was the one who went to the village on a monthly basis because, as she explained, it was too exhausting for the mothers to walk to her clinic on the mountainside. I have repeatedly seen this kind of commitment to improve the accessibility of services. among health providers who are working in the most arduous circumstances. I also remember the radiologist who I met just as I started my DM&E program here at McMaster. He was volunteering his time to work in some of Ontario's northern First Nations communities. He was a quiet and modest individual. He told me how his persistent efforts to get government officials discussing the unsafe drinking water problem in these communities had been repeatedly thwarted, but he had found a roundabout way to get this item discussed at a formal meeting. He had put the purchase of fetal monitors on the agenda. His plan was to suggest that he was willing to forego the purchase of these fetal monitors if funding for a potable water system was provided instead. He is one of many leaders who has shown me the way to champion positive change from core values of social justice. Finally, community members and leaders have taught me about the deep wisdom of patients, families, and communities. This wisdom can too easily elude us when we get into the routines of our daily work. But if we are to succeed, we must listen for it. We must join up this community wisdom with our health professional and health research know-how. This deep wisdom must not be placed underneath our professional knowledge. Rather, it must be placed alongside our disciplinary learning. These two forms of knowledge help create conditions for change, change that is relevant to the lives of the clients and the communities you will each have the privilege to serve. And so, this is what I've learned about the tools for change. They are inquiry, earning respect, commitment for the long term, leadership, and joined-up knowledge. No matter where you decide to work, these are the kinds of tools that will allow you to instill hope in the lives of others and to help make a difference. I wish you well in this endeavor. You all have something very, very important to contribute to improving the lives of the people that we serve. Let me conclude by saluting each of you for your tremendous accomplishment. Enjoy the day, celebrate, and once again, I sincerely thank you for this honor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Edwards. Once again, an alumna of our university. Your dedication to your profession, your many contributions to it, you are an icon in terms of your profession. We're delighted to have you here this morning and wish you all the best. Thank you very much.
Dr. Patrick Deane will now come forward to present the graduands to our Chancellor for admission to their degrees.
Will the graduands please stand? Mr. Chancellor, on behalf of McMaster University Senate, I present to you these candidates in order that you may confer the appropriate degrees upon them, and I bear witness that they are worthy and suitable.
Graduands, by my authority and that of the McMaster University Senate, I have the great pleasure to admit you to your individual degrees in McMaster University with all the rights and privileges pertaining to those degrees. My sincere congratulations to you all.
Please be seated. Mr. Chancellor, on behalf of McMaster University Senate, may I also request that you confer the appropriate degrees in absentia upon all those candidates who have successfully completed the required course of study, but who are not present.
I declare all these degrees conferred in absentia.
Graduates, I now ask each of you to join me on stage so that the Chancellor and I may welcome you into the McMaster community of scholars.
Ladies and gentlemen, it would be appreciated if during the presentation of the graduands, you would hold your applause to the end of each degree category. Thank you. Mr. Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduate of the degree Doctor of Philosophy, Susan Elizabeth Anthony. Mary Agnes Bedus. Carrie Joan Mines. Mr. Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Masters of Science. Daniela Rosati. Suganya Vadivellu.
Mr. Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Bachelor of Science in Nursing. Anna Patricia Adamowitz. Abigail Adu. Samantha Ashley Agar. Sarah Ahmad. Shara Rashida Ali. Cindy Diane Amaya. Brittany Anderson. Ashley Andriash. Concepcion Anglo. Shinyeri Queen Ariaga. Cassandra Arjun. Ellen Asifa. Mariana Atia. Carly Lynn Ballantyne. Kriza Gallup Balatok. Holly Lynn Barnhart. Daniel Barnhorn. Jessica Bartu. Brittany Basket. Laura Stephanie Bayards. Donnelly Berenger. Brittany Joan Becker. Elisa Mary Rose Bell. Lauren Ann Bell. Linda Joan Benoise. Alora Marie Bibby. Rachel A. Bick. Siobhan M. Black. Samantha Blackburn. Rebecca Nicole Blaguski. Melanie Ann Blair. Anka Joanna Blage. Bernice Elizabeth Berma. Nadia Elena Bagoy. Heather Boutelier. Lynetta Bauman. Caitlin Grace Bowron. Sadie Lynn Boyd. Annalicia Bozo. Sarah Lynn Brandt. Elena Jan Braun. Heather Renee Brower. Benjamin Robert Bruce. Katie Brunet. Jacqueline Marina Bultois. Ellen Burgess. Pamela Denise Burns. Dana Lynn Birch. Diane Gail Byrne. Ashley Cabin Token. Erwin Cacheros. Barbara Vidal Calliston. Angel Kaluai. Aaron Campbell. Jennifer Verna Lena Campbell. Linda Carey. Sarah Elizabeth Carter. Stella Carantu. Justine Chantel Chatillon. Manit Shahal. Rachel Charlong. Dana Riley Trinitensky. Patrick Chu. Doris Chow. Dilruba Chowdhury. Markale Christian. Krista Andrea Christink. Erin Jennifer Clark. Tanya Christine Clarkson. Andrea Michelle Claxton. Laura Ann Connell. Courtney Copeland. Ashley Crawford. Biliana Crever. Christina Cromwell. Stephanie Greta Ann Culp. Caitlin Marie Curry. Jennifer Lauren Dalamonte. Rebecca DePa. Barbara Luann Davies. Ashley E. Davis. Nicole Lynn Day. Jackie DeGroot. Jessica Christina DeLant. Marco DeAngelis. Ashenza Margaret DeBono. Stacy Ann Denboer. Michelle Natalie Dawn DeSanti. Briar DeVries. Andrea DiLoretto. Brittany Donaldson. Nicole Tilly Dowes. Joyce Esther Drugendijk. Nadine Dupuy. Caesar Duran. Elaine Durham. Linda Diane Diamond. Justine Jedzik. Tiffany Edmondson. Erin Ashley Eggleton. Sarah Elgarabli. Jennifer Emmis. Samantha Endo. Regelin Espinoza. Sergei Ayasu.
Danielle Fabro. Lauren Ann Fankhauser. Jessie Christine Farr. Lindsay Christine Fenema. Cassandra Ferguson. Emily Kate Field. Leila Finkbenar. Ashley Jennifer Finter. Crystal Forkney. Jessica Francisquine. Ashley Frank. Laura Delia Frankie. Laura Fraser. Susie Friesen. Nicole Marie Fontaine. Ursula Gassick. Casey Gallardi. Christine Gagnon. Diana Maria Garcia Soler. Adina Maria Gates. Kristen Geiger. Melissa Lynn Goodens. Emily Margaret Gibbs. Sarah Gondo. Emily Ann Gracie. Katrina Graham. Renee Grant. Randy Gregoire. Megan Marjorie Grimwood. Melissa Gruby. Arlene Guanzon. Lisa Gilbeer. Rebecca Gupta. Summer Georgina Haddad. Sahar Naz Haji. Sarah Ann Halliburton. Tegan Hamada. Sarah Jean Blair Hamilton. Emily Hanley. Sandra Hanna. Caitlin Mackenzie Hardy. Julia Christine Harrison. Denise Harrop. Heather Hartley. Jacqueline Renee Harwood. Kelly Hawk. Linda Elizabeth Haycraft. Stephanie May Heffer. Jessica Haida. Kathleen Joy Heidebrecht. Jessica Ellen Hemming. Stephanie Henderson. Heather Herkimer. Annette Haywood. Margaret Hilton. Courtney Hoffer. Allison Hoffman. Annie Alisa Hoffman. Joanna Hojnik. David Allen Holder. Anika Holo. Sarah Louise Holt. Alexa Horncastle. Christina Hughes. Catherine Hughes. Bahar Ighani. Gia Francis Corsino Imperial. Nadia Yakimitz. Anna Janik. Valerie Jansen. Annika Katharina Jansen. Leslie Marie Jefferson. Miranda Aaron Joby. Deanna Jones. April Ann Jerka-Lionis. Gaylyn Callis. Emily Sarah Evans Kedwell. Sarah Keller. Pamela Jade Kelly. Kristen Marie Keogh. Sarah Joan Elaine Kernahan. Lindsay Kerr. Sharon Kinda. Christine Conkle. Morgan Crowter. Liliana Crizo. Serdan Crizo. Thomas Jock Kubar. Marnie Lambert. Catherine Langlois. Jessica Laskowski. Elaine Wong Ling Law. Christina Lawrence. Kathleen Marie LeBlanc. Angela Marie Lettingham. Crystal Lee. Brenda Lees. Ying Yun Lee. Yvonne Ki Chen Lui. Sarah Ellen Long. Christine Lastrangio. Caitlin Patricia Love. Stacy Janice Ludwig. Liliana Lukic. Courtney Lillian Lundy. Leanne Marie McDonald. Carly McDonald. Crystal Leanne McDonald. Jennifer Lynn McDonald. Priscilla McDonald. Portia Machonisa. Jenna Sally Mackey. Chelsea Rose Malkovich. Harpreet Kaur Marahar. Dakota John Marcotte. Andrew James Marlowe. Emily Martin. Lindsay Martin. Kelly Maxwell. Leanna McBrain. Melissa McGuire. Lindsay McMullen. Jacqueline McMurdy. Dragana Makanovic. Marla Mitchell. Nazra Amiyo Mohammed. Denise Mole. Lancelot Morgan. Lisa Louise Morgan. Leanne Morrow. Christina Natalie Morton. Amelia Ann Mount. Christina Mueller. Jillian Margaret Mary Mulder. Alex Murasan. Krista Niewiger. Vu Nugent. Jennifer Nickel. Catherine Elaine Nichols. Laura Jean Nielsen. Natasha Ann Nyman. Lisa Marie Nightingale. Nafsin Nasser Nizam. Nikki Nugent. Haley Grace Nybor.
Danielle Marie O'Hara. Cornelia Oliarchik. Osan Ogi Osawe. Ruben Dario Azuna. Felicia Jennifer Teresa Palak. Hamiban Patel. Tamara Leanne Penny. Courtney Marion Ruth Pepper. Tamsin Jade Phillips. Lena Pegnatelli. Monica Maria Polania. Melanie Pombiro. Sky Porter. Krista L. Polzak. Katie Price Owen. Rachel Lynn Prinz. Nisa Price. Alexander Tosinskas. Kristen Alexandra Quinn. Jocelyn Radcliffe. Rupinder Kaur Rai. And Johnny S. Rampersad. Galit Rashish. Melody Shireen Rashwan. Ashley Nicole Rawlinson. Catherine Reyes Escobar. Elise Catherine Reynolds. Imri Brianne Reynolds. Melissa Richardson. Jennifer Lynn Ripley. Delmy Griselda Rivera. Shannon Leanne Robertson. Camille Catherine Rokes. Michael Joseph Rosati. Maria Denise Marasigan Ruida. Kelsey Vanessa Rumble. Masumi Safari. Jennifer L. Salvo. Inessa Sandhu. Hazel Marie Santos. Victoria Mary Sawatsky. Jenna Noel Betty Schaefer. Courtney Shlomkowski. Aaron Schmidt. Rachel Schofield. Chelsea Scott. Amy Selecki. Rebecca Jane Seymour. Amy Lynn Shepard. Kelsey Sherman. Tariro Janet Shipe. Ashley C. Harith. Camille Sizik. Alana Smith. Elizabeth Schneider. Taya Schnook. Amanda Marie Snow. Tara Lynn Sprangers. Alyssa Paige Stratman. Courtney Christine Strawn. Rachel Christine Sutherland. Charlene Taka. Stephanie Nicole Talbot. Elena Talavakova. Charity Ann Irene Thiessen. Eulene Thompson. Kendra Thompson. Mandy Dawn Thornton. Haya H. Timbo. Ashley Elizabeth Tisdale. Jennifer Torgbor. Victor Trafiak. Kate Tukendorf. Shannon Kate Valiant. Monique Van Halteren. Lauren Ashley Vanderlee. Katrina Van Dyke. Jody Adeline Van S. Marissa Ann Veldstra. Sarah Jane Venner. Sarah Brianne Voorberg. Sarah Elizabeth Voss. Bojana Vugdragovic. Jessica Brown Wallace. Jacqueline Walmsley. Grace Wang. Alana Workington. Marianne Workington. Sarah Elizabeth Warmington. Shelby Lynn Watson. Shelley Watson. Rachel Weber. Ainsley Rose Marie Weischer. Jeff Michael Wheatley. David Whitley. Hillary Samantha Wichtaz. Peter Henry Wilson. Candace Wiltz. Cassandra Lee Wintle. Paige Jennifer Winton. Leah Kathleen Wolf. Gabriel Nicole Wolf. Tiffany Marie Woolis. Alvin Wong. Melanie Karen Nicole Woods. Haley Lynn Woodward. Robin Woolard. Carolyn Warndall. Randy Worthman. Lindsay Wraith. Patrice Marie Wright. Colleen Elizabeth Yip. Jordan Deane Younger. Kevin Joseph Yu. Dominika Zamojski. Chao Liang Zheng. Yi Zhao. And the last graduate from the BSCN program, Josephine Victoria Zorn.
Mr. Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Bachelor of Medical Radiation Sciences. Kashif Abbasi, Zainad Ahmed, Sarah Jane Allred, Kathleen Frances Anderson, Lauren Marie Aquilina, Salman Arif, Fatima Asif, Natasha Camille Batchelor, Jordan Berry, Shalu Bagria, Frank Botang, Danielle Buwalda, Danielle Justine Carroll, Chi Chung Cheng, Angela Christensen, Kristen Amanda Chu, Courtney Cook, Stephanie Brianna Corrigan, Kaylee Ann Krause, Andrea Liliana Serco, Manpreet Kaur Dell, Rosalie Elspeth Donkersgood, Joanna Junakovsky, Jasjeet Flora, Jacqueline Blair Foster, Nicholas Angelo Gatmaton, Brittany Alexandra Gibbons, Leah Michelle Gortz, James Gould, Kieran Grover, Brendan William Douglas Hamilton, Nermeen Hermes, Pohui Emily Ho, Sungpyo Peter Hong. Karen Howe. Maha Ibrahim. Jessica Joe. Jae-woong Kim. Julia Kravitz. Stephanie Croker. Megan Marie Lang. Michelle Lee. Charlene Leong. Edward Ho Young Leung. An Ling. Ryan Jonathan McDonald. Jessica H. McMillan. Megan Ashley McNevin. Natasha Lee McBrain. Linda McBride. Lauren McEwen. Ryan Stephen Keith Majessi. Aslam Mohammed. Shayna Bree Moore. Amanda Christina Morera. Kenneth Ng. Kaylana Parente. Robin Nicole Pollock. Sonia Pessa. Anupa Pereira. Lindsay Jane Prinz. Miriam Rahman. Mandy Romana. Mandy Louise Reeve. Eric Frederick Ricker. Allison Lindsay Ripp. Megan Claire Robertson, Gregory James Robinson, Rebecca Michelle Schinkel, Jenny No Yun Siu, Ida Sayed, Nash Shaidai, Diana Simiensky, Lisa Jung Yoon Sim, Karen Hao Wan Siu, Jamie Hyun Ji Song, Alicia Karina Speech, Amanda Jan Tassoni, Nicole Marie Thompson, Robin Elizabeth Tunin, Sharon Yui, Natalie Catherine Hope Van Schaik, Diana Lee Vosterek, Shirley Wang, Janelle Victoria Wilson, Jessica Lee Wilson, Stanley Wong, Sei Yan Gigi Wong, Allison Grace Wood, Xiao Fang Zhu, Carly Young, Ting Zhao, he's the last one, and Wakas Ahmad Zia.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would now like to introduce you to Mr. Salman Arif, a graduate of the Bachelor of Medical Radiation Sciences program, who will be delivering the valedictory address.
Greetings, fellow McMaster, Mohawk, and Conestoga graduates, family and friends, Presidents Deane, McIsaac, and Tibbetts, Chancellor, and our esteemed members of the faculty and administration. It is truly an honor for me to stand here before you on this momentous occasion. Today is a day of celebration and thankfulness. Acquiring a degree, especially in the fields of medical radiation sciences and nursing, requires not only dedication and discipline, but a strong support network. These are the people that when we throw in the towel, they pick it back up, never gave up on us, never let us go. And I can guarantee that right now they are probably more excited and proud of our accomplishments than we are. And so for all their support, love, and dedication, let's extend a round of applause for them. Join me, graduates. Now, I wanted to take a moment to talk about a virtue that I've only truly come to learn with my time here at this institution, and that is discipline. I think all of us today have come to a new realization of the term. What is true discipline? Discipline, as we've now come to learn, is actually doing what you really don't want to do, so you can do what you really want to do. I don't really want to get up for that 8:30 morning lecture, but we did. I don't want to review that chapter for the 3rd time, but we did. Don't want to write that 5,000-word essay, but we did it. Why? Because we have come to appreciate a deeper understanding of our purpose as healthcare students and as future healthcare professionals. What it is that we really want to do is to stand at the forefront of patient-centered care, to lend our knowledge, skills, and expertise to those that are in need. Our respective programs have instilled in us this passion for knowledge. We now understand and appreciate the power of knowledge to transform lives and to change situations for the better. We have come to enjoy academic challenges and strive for excellence in all that we pursue. By any means, we are not bookish. We are learned. At this stage of development, we may feel and look back as if this marks the end. But in fact, this is just the closing of a chapter of a book of many chapters that are yet to come. And so instead, this convocation marks the beginning of a new adventure with its own obstacles and challenges that it will bring forth. Some of us will move on and begin to make their mark in the world, while others will continue forward in academia towards perhaps a master's or a PhD, like some of the aspired graduates among us today. The world is ours for the taking. We just have to put our minds to it. And today is a testament to that. It seems then that everything is moving forward. That's just the type of group we are. As Benjamin Franklin once said, all mankind can be divided into 3 classes: those that are immovable, those that are movable, and those that move. Well, we are the group that move. We move forward. But it's not just that. We move boundaries. We push the limits. That's what it took for all of us to be here. All of us standing here today know that. In the McMaster, Mohawk, and Conestoga programs, we have been blessed to have learned under so many distinguished, passionate professors who have inspired us to use the knowledge that we have gained to not only better ourselves, but society. In fact, it was through a faculty member's encouragement and support, and she knows who she is, and by the will of God, that I'm even standing at this podium and addressing you today. Our instructors are the potters, whom with their knowledge, skill, and art are sculpting the faces of future healthcare leaders and aspiring minds. We will forever be indebted to them for their hard work, sacrifices, and commitment to our success. And so today, we say to all of them, thank you. For me, academically, it's been a long road, and I'm grateful for the course it has taken so far. Before coming to this institution, I attended the University of Toronto, where I completed my honors Bachelor of Science. And sometimes I find myself looking back and I think to myself, it's amazing how our life's course can take direction. At one point in time, I had no idea, along with my fellow graduates, that we would be destined to study at this institution, McMaster, Mohawk, and Conestoga, to become a radiation therapist, or a nurse, or a radiographer, or a sonographer, to support our community. My parents have always said that I would be destined to support a greater good. Today, I stand proud with my graduates, poised to fulfill that destiny in the most literal sense. We owe a lot to our parents for all their support, especially for all the food. I particularly also owe a lot to my wife, whose prayers have sustained me throughout my studies, though they've come from the other side of the world. We all have loved ones that wish the best for us and envision us in the highest of places. Let us not forget them on this day. To conclude, in the words of Winston Churchill, we make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. We are the graduating class of 2012. We're ready to give. We're ready to make a difference. Congratulations, everyone.
May I now introduce to you Mr. David Adames, the President of the McMaster Alumni Association. David will now deliver the Alumni Association address.
Well, thank you so much, Provost Smith, Chancellor Wilson, President Deane, President McIsaac, Dr. Edwards, valedictorian Arif, faculty, special guests, fellow alumni, and most importantly, members of the class of 2012. I am David Adames, a past president of the McMaster Alumni Association. I have the pleasure today of representing 3 alumni associations, that of McMaster as well as Mohawk College and Conestoga College. Over the course of its 125-year history, McMaster has granted degrees at convocation ceremonies in Toronto, on the McMaster campus in Hamilton, and more recently, here at Hamilton Place. Our chancellors have shaken hands with graduates during Queen Victoria's reign, the Great Depression, the World Wars, and the Internet age. Students have become alumni in eras and in circumstances that have seemed unconnected to those before and after. Fashions, attitudes, learning styles, tuition fees, and of course cafeteria food, everything has changed. But regardless of era, those alumni we all share a place in the alumni family. We are connected from year to year, from decade to decade, and from generation to generation. Each and every class is unique and in truth shares only 2 things with all others. The first is the great potential you have as new graduates of 3 truly great institutions. The second is that we all share a history with our schools, a familial connection and a responsibility to each and to each other to build on the legacy we inherited and to continue their stories of excellence. Playing a role in extending that legacy is easier than it sounds. The most important thing you can do is contribute. Contribute to your professions, your avocations, your communities, and your families. Your achievements add shine to my degree and to the degrees everyone is wearing today. The other thing you can do is stay engaged, and based on the enthusiasm I've seen here today, you won't need too much encouragement. That's why the alumni associations of McMaster, Conestoga, and Mohawk are here. I can attest to the pure enjoyment I've experienced serving on the Alumni Association board, meeting very interesting alumni at many events across the continent, sharing stories and perspectives, and extending my personal and business network because of my involvement with the Alumni Association. Watch for your respective alumni magazine in your mailbox and follow the tweets of your association. Join your fellow alumni at one of the hundreds of events we organize annually in Hamilton, Hong Kong, Halifax, and a bunch of other places that don't start with the letter H. There is a place for all of you in the McMaster, Mohawk, and Conestoga Alumni Associations. Today, we celebrate your success as students and toast the promise of your bright futures as alumni. Your fellow grads are proud of you already. We offer you our most sincere congratulations and a warm welcome to your respective alumni families. Congratulations.
May I invite Dr. Deane back to the podium to deliver his President's Address.
Mr. Chancellor, President McIsaac, Dr. Edwards, esteemed colleagues from McMaster, from Mohawk, from Conestoga, graduates, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to begin my remarks with a quote which is in fact the title of an album released by the ambient trip-hop duo Arms and Sleepers in 2006. I'm not sure if your taste runs to this kind of music, but this was the title of the album, Bliss Was It in That Dawn to Be Alive. And the album came out at about the same time most of you were just beginning to contemplate which university or college program you would choose, what form of study might suit you, what career option might best satisfy your talents, your temperaments, and your inclinations. And today I would expect that at least some of you, and certainly a good number of your parents and supporters, will be looking back at that time of choice and marveling at the distance you have traveled since then. Now, as you sat there, weighing up one university or college prospectus against the other, good sense against the pressure of your peers, fear of the unknown against the desire for adventure, I'm not sure you would have said then that you were in a state of bliss. My recollection of such discussions in my family involving my two children is that they invariably ended with books being slammed shut and the question being fired at me, "Yes, Dad, but whose life is it anyway?" But to be poised at the opening of a new phase in your life, to have at least choices about how that phase will be constituted, to be able to dream of your future without the fear that you will be proven naive for thinking that you have one, this is an experience of great privilege. And despite all the superficial anguish that attends those moments of decision, I know you will today recall the pregnant quality, the powerful promise of that moment. Hence my quotation, "Bliss was it in that dawn to be alive." Now, if your taste doesn't run to that kind of music, it may run to literature, and those of you who know their literature will be keen to point out to me that the actual source for that quotation is the English Romantic poet William Wordsworth. In the 10th book of whose long poem, The Prelude, the poet remembers a moment of great excitement, a moment he felt in France when he arrived there in 1790, 1 year after the storming of the Bastille and the start of the French Revolution. The lines are very famous, and I'm going to read 5 of them to you. "O pleasant exercise of hope and joy, for great were the auxiliaries which then stood upon our side, we who were strong in love. Bliss was it in that dawn to be alive, but to be young was very heaven." Now, I've chosen this as the text for my remarks today, certainly because you are, on the whole, young, either in body or in spirit, and gathered here today in a differently pleasant exercise of hope and joy. That is the ceremony of graduation. There's a good deal more, though, to the parallel than this. What's interesting to me about Wordsworth's lines is that they speak about a community confronting the potential for far-reaching and radical human transformation. That sense of community comes through the phrase, strong in love. We were strong in love, as he says. And what invigorates him in that poem is the prospect of doing something great, yes, but moreover, doing it in partnership with others. So the sense of transformation is something that not only accrues to the individual, but to the individual in a group. The goal is a new human dispensation, a society which is not just an agglomeration of faithless and selfish individuals, but of an organism strong in love, a community held together by shared values and shared compassion. It may be true that in every age, the young feel this need for a fundamental reconsideration and reconfiguration of the human order, but there are compelling reasons to regard the present as an age of revolution every bit as critical as that which began with the American Revolution. In fact, in the last quarter of the 18th century, included the French Revolution and continued for approximately 75 years. Many of you, I know, will be familiar with the term quiet revolution, which has a particular application in Canadian politics, usually taken to refer to the transformation of Quebec in the 1960s. But that phrase is obviously relevant to the kind of dramatic and far-reaching shift in economic and social relationships that is presently underway on the world stage. I was recently in Brazil as part of the Governor-General's educational mission to that country. And in one of our many meetings with Brazilian government and university officials, I was struck powerfully by the odd mixture which characterized our Canadian position in these discussions. We were confident, assured in our assumption that we had advantages that our Brazilian colleagues might want, a mature and world-class post-secondary system, for example. But we were abject or deferential in our awareness that this advantage is unlikely to continue for much longer, that very shortly the tables will be turned, and institutions and countries like our own will depend for their survival and their prosperity on their ability to adapt to a very new world order, one in which they are not dominant. About a month earlier, I was present when a similar scene played itself out in England, where I was attending the British Council's annual conference on higher education across the globe. At the opening event, there were 1,400 delegates present from 120 countries, and they were addressed by a member of the British Cabinet. Now, what was interesting about this is that the speaker was oddly oblivious to the reality that he was not speaking to a room full of exclusively British educators, but to representatives from all over the world, representatives from the very market that he wished to exploit. And he spoke at some length about the need to cultivate and to sell the British brand in higher education. So it was an ironic and superbly undiplomatic moment as he spoke to delegates from Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, the BRICS countries, and many other nations. Such nations in the so-called developing world, having shaken off political subservience and begun to realize their powerful economic potential, are being invited back into relationship with their previous masters, now in the new role of customers increasingly vital to the economies of those formerly dominant states. So confidence and deference, assurance and abjection again. We saw it in the British Cabinet Minister, as I saw it in our delegation in Brazil. These are the symptoms of a quiet revolution that is underway across the globe, realigning power and wealth, problematizing relationships that have seemed settled since the 18th and 19th centuries, challenging the hegemony of received ideas of what one might call normative Europeanness, and making it certain that the new world we will all come to inhabit will not be predictable on the basis of the old. What fuels my own sense of bliss at this moment is the feeling developed over the last few decades working with students in a number of Canadian institutions, and particularly strong since my coming to Hamilton, that many of you, a great many of you, are open to an active engagement with the globe, not only as it is right now, in terms of the status quo, but also as it is in the process of becoming. Indeed, I know already many of you have sought an active role in addressing suffering, violence, and inhumanity, and a range of health problems across the world. And we should be very proud of this, of the way in which what one might call a without borders sensibility has taken hold in your generation and given life to a host of formal and informal initiatives aimed at serving the world and its needs in different times. Salman spoke eloquently about the need to make a difference. And this is one of the characteristics of your generation, and it gives me great pride to be associated with you. The most influential model for these more formal initiatives aimed at transformation of the world is, of course, Doctors Without Borders. And it does have a strong connection to the city. It has a very strong connection to McMaster, as many of you know. Dr. James Orbinski, who was president of Doctors Without Borders when the organization received the Nobel Prize for Peace in 1999, had been a medical student at McMaster. He had founded the McMaster University Health Reach program, dedicated to investigating and promoting the health of children in war zones. He was a founding member of Doctors Without Borders Canada in 1990. And this activist orientation towards the world continues to be a distinguishing feature of the Faculty of Health Sciences, nursing, the program in global health, for example, which provides students with outstanding preparation for work in the global field. Dr. Orbinski is also connected with another organization that many of you will have been connected to indirectly, Engineers Without Borders, another activity of our students directed to addressing global issues. As an institution, we have a long and a very distinguished history of high-quality engagement with global problems, and we share the powerful conviction of that mission with the colleges with whom we partner in the programs from which you're graduating today. You may know that in the university we have, in the Faculty of Social Science, the McMaster Institute on Globalization and the Human Condition, which was established to study globalizing processes and the way these bear upon our lives, our communities, and our environment, to bring the science that we cultivate in the university to bear on an analysis of this changing world order. Not many people know that our university is connected to United Nations academic impact, and that several years ago we dedicated ourselves through education to the realization of the Millennium Goals of the United Nations. This engagement with the world is, I think, one of the truly most important aspects of college and university education in the present day. There are issues around talk of internationalization. I could talk at length about the new movement to internationalize higher education, which is, of course, sponsored by our province and by the federal government. And I should point out, by almost 87% of universities around the world, if you think of the number of universities surveyed to produce that figure, it's around 10,000, and 87% of those universities have stated that internationalization is critically important to them. It's not always clear what is meant by that. And what is most troubling is the possibility that the engagement with other nations is intended to derive benefit or to bring benefit back to the nation offering its services, rather than to see traffic and benefit going both ways. It is possible in engaging in activities of this sort to seek only to reproduce your own preconceptions, your own paradigms for understanding, and this is not necessarily always in the interest of those nations with whom one engages. I say all of this to indicate that while I could not be more encouraging, supportive, and admiring of your every move to be a force for global change, it is important that you not be so transported by the promise of this moment, by the exhilaration of the community you feel with your brothers and sisters in other countries, that you fail to notice that your own interests may be quite different from theirs. In the face of so much global suffering, it is tempting to come bearing the gift of answers rather than the more valuable gift of questions. it is tempting to be assured and overconfident rather than abject and deferential in your approach to others. And more problematically even, you can find yourself engaged in remaking the other in your own image, failing to understand the unfamiliar cultures, economies, and nations in terms other than a lack of what is valued and celebrated in your own paradigms. I'll conclude with a comment on this whole issue of two-way traffic. One gratifying outcome of the trip to Brazil, excuse me, I'll just have a sip of water. One gratifying outcome of the trip to Brazil is confirmation that now 12,000 Brazilian students will come to Canadian universities and colleges as part of their own government's Science Without Borders program. Science Without Borders is an international education initiative of extraordinary magnitude. It will provide scholarships to 100,000 Brazilian students, largely in science, technology, engineering, mathematics, to pursue their studies at the best universities around the world. Because of its size, the program will have a major impact, not just on Brazil itself and on its economic growth, but on universities and other institutions in all those countries fortunate enough to host scholarship students. For us, there is the potential for self-renewal and development, as our own paradigms and assumptions are challenged by the presence among us of outstanding students from Brazil. That must be the foundation of our engagement with the future and with the globalized condition from which that future is inseparable. Traffic across borders must flow in both directions, as must the benefits of engagement. Without that, a new world community, strong in love, as Wordsworth puts it, will be an illusion, and the expectant bliss of our present moment will go unfulfilled. To all of you, our own Scientists Without Borders, my warmest best wishes for the lives and the careers you will make in the strange, unfamiliar, and rapidly changing territory that begins at the doors of this building. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, President Deane, for some very profound and thoughtful remarks, indeed inspirational. And I think you raise points about questions that we all should think about and address. We don't have all the answers, for sure. I must remark on the enthusiasm of the class today, Mr. President. This is the 5th time that I've presided over a convocation of nurses and related activities, and I must say, there is no doubt in my mind that this is the most energetic and enthusiastic and responsive group of graduates we have. We have one more convocation this afternoon, and that's our engineers. And in the last four years, I've mentioned that the nurses in the morning have outdone them. And each year they try, but they don't seem to get there. So I'm with you folks. The President mentioned in passing a comment about the brand of universities. And this university and its associated colleges, Mohawk, Conestoga, are among the world's best university brands, for sure. And it is now up to you as graduates, alumni of this university to make sure that its brand stays in the limelight in the years ahead. That's what I love to hear. I mentioned yesterday at the Social Sciences Convocation that I had graduated 50 years ago this week from the university. And that was at the 63rd convocation of this university. And that was 75 years into its being. So in the first 75 years, we had 63 convocations. This is now the 507th convocation. So we've had 444 convocations in the last 50 years. And that's a mark of how this university has grown and developed, particularly over the past 50 years. And I see no reason why it isn't going to continue to be among the world's foremost universities in the years ahead. I graduated, as I say, in a class of about 200, maybe 225 in the entire university. There were 2 in my program, honors economics, and we had 1 associated in honors economics and political science. That's the dismal science, as you know, economics. And it's great to see the enthusiasm in nursing here today. But I really do congratulate all of you. I'm really lifted by the enthusiasm that you've shown, and I wish you all the very best in the years ahead. I realize that if I keep speaking here, I'm going to be keeping you from refreshments and meeting with your friends and family. I have a couple of announcements. Pinning ceremonies for the nursing graduates and their guests will be in the Convention Center here at 2 p.m., and a reception will follow each ceremony. Flowers that have been delivered for graduates will be available at the coat check in the main lobby. I'd ask you to please remain standing at your seats until the academic procession and the graduates have left the hall. I'd ask you now to rise and join with me in singing our national anthem. After the singing of the anthem, this convocation stands adjourned.